Our mission is 4 words: train your own AI. And when I say AI, I mean, of course, a medical AI. Basically, it's a bit of a mission here, like sort of the first iPhone, but the first AI for medical. So let's build it together and with the partners that we have here. Now, this is actually an extraordinarily good time to do this, because 3 technologies that are accelerating the pace of innovation are coming together in a sort of a perfect storm. So first of all, there is precision medicine. And then there is AI, and then there is blockchain. And these 3 together, they form such an important pact for the future that I would like to explain that in my story here. And I put a Bible quote there, although apparently it's not good to have a Bible quote in America. But why? Because it's the word faith in it. Because for each of these for science, precision medicine, for AI, technology, and blockchain, which is actually finance, for each of these, our faith is being tested. Like in precision medicine, people tell me, but do you really think that, getting all these numbers together, that we will understand disease? And I don't want to tell them that, do you really think that your gut is better than a mathematically, predictive framework? So I don't say that. I tell them that as a scientist, we have to push the paradigm of science, and we have to find the boundaries of tomorrow. In AI, they tell us, when some doctors tell me, these are neural nets. They are black boxes. Nobody understands them. You cannot monitor their behavior. So, but I ask them a question. What if one day you have to decide between 90% chance that you can cure a patient and you don't understand it, or 50% chance that he will die and you do understand it? So keeps them busy a while, this question. And blockchain, have been so many things about blockchain now. But the main thing is, will that actually be the new layer of the internet? And will people be able to understand it? Because it's now so cryptic, and of course it's applied cryptography. But, people in Main Street don't understand it. But, in 93 and 94, when there was barely a browser, on the internet, we had 4 octets instead of domain names. And we had bulletin boards, and we had acoustic couplers. And it was extremely difficult. And so even Bill Gates said, this will never hit mainstream. He jumped on the bandwagon later. And you see, this is what we do. It becomes, in the beginning, it's extremely difficult. And then we put layers of translation. And now, a 5-year-old child can make a website. So, and the same will happen to these 3 technologies, and especially when they converge. So let's talk about precision medicine. What exactly is precision medicine? Well, basically, it's sort of personalized medicine on steroids. It's making medicine more precise than just symptoms and qualitative and anecdotes, more like mathematically computable frameworks. I heard it once explained as a hell of a lot of numbers in columns and rows. And it's true that the machine loves this. It's very easy when we have a lot of numbers in columns and rows. And let's talk about the omics. I'll tell you from the beginning on that people will not have to know all these names. We will put translation layers on. The anatome is nothing more than your scans. The clinome is what people take out of medical records. And, I'm a known advocate against medical records because I'm a consumer and I think they are just a billing instrument, not a learning instrument. And also, if you listen to the CEO of FHIR, the new standard, and HL7, he says, I talk to corporations all day, and they will never share information because for 20 years they have kept it from each other. So it will not happen. So we just have to, there must be a shortcut, and that shortcut exists now. It is the consumer itself, because for 10 years, since 2010 and before, we have made apps and APIs, and we've given them access to the data. So why would we go into medical records? Or why would we need it? We are built enough. We are built to death, actually. The exposome, very interesting new omics. It's, biometeorology, the impact on the environment of the ozone layer, of even the noise of the small particles on your health. The genome, your genes, probably the most well-known omics now. The microbiome, that's even more interesting because, basically anyone can say anything about it because there are like a million genes. But, all these populations of genes, it's like a Game of Thrones in your body, and you get to know them, So, and uBiome, where Alan, our scientific officer, medical officer, and myself are in the scientific board. So they are, like a great company just going from one experiment to another. And you can have your microbiome, and you are introduced to your microorganisms, your bacteria. You know what probiotics to take, what the Simpson index is, how healthy are you, based on the diversity of your population. Indeed, it is also inclusive. So it's very, very interesting omics. The pharmacogenome, based on your genome and your medications, we found the right dosage, the right medication for you. The phenome is basically your BMI, your age, your gender, anything that you can derive, height, weight, length. Proteome is your blood and your urine. And the sociome, that's the social information, the social determinants of your health. So it's all, we overestimate the difficulty of getting this information because it's all around us. Now, let's go one by one. So how the AI builds up the data collection. First, proteome, we just take it from, in the States, from Quest and LabCorp. Who has never been to Quest and Lab? No, that's perhaps not the right question. That's a biased question. Who has already had his blood test from Quest and LabCorp? You see? That's, you are covering 60 to 70% of the market. So it's easy. API. So we just ask the consumer, password, we encrypt it, download it onto his phone. The next one, genome. Who has his, 23andMe or other genotyping or sequencing done? Yeah, it's pretty good, actually, almost half the auditorium. Well, 23andMe has 2 million members. Veritas Genetics, who is here, is now you can have your full sequence genome for under $1,000. This is, like 23andMe is 149 probably, but it's a genotype, so it's not sequenced. It's SNPs. So very soon, and if you look at the Illumina models, and so Erica is here from Illumina, and so basically Illumina knows what it's saying because they own actually all the boxes and all the software. If they say it's going to be that, it's going to be that. Pharmacogenome. Well, when you have your genome, we just download with your passwords your CVS and Walgreens or Rite Aid. But we also have something that will be ready in a month, and it's very easy. It's also for other countries that we are doing this. It's an AI. You take a picture from your medicine bottles. It takes the barcodes. It takes the names. It looks it all up, and nicely structures it. It goes to see into the list that we have from a pharmacogenome and sees if there are the right dosages. So easy. Microbiome, you have to buy it. Everything with an asterisk is out of pocket. And believe me, the future of healthcare will be a lot out of pocket. Cleanome, we are, so Deloitte is our partner, and a great partner from the beginning. And we also learn about the sensitivities of the large corporations there, because, and I'll tell you a bit more about that, but if one of the clients of Deloitte doesn't have it, it's human API. We just, it's a company that has all that information and can download it from whichever hospital it is. And if you know that Apple took over Glimpse, so I preview that in the next 1 or 2 years, it will all be in Apple Health. The Physium, vital signs. Well, if you have HealthKit and your watch and Fitbit and Omron, a lot of people have it. Your Phenome, we have a special application for that, and Apurv will demonstrate, or Sam will demonstrate it. It's called Inclusive AI. You take a picture of yourself and it fills it all in. Exposome, the same. We are doing that on a GitHub, sharing that with the rest of the world. And the Sociome, that's also one of our products. Now you could imagine a Black Mirror scenario, like that OkCupid predicts how your children will look like based on your combined genome. It doesn't have to be scientific, these are brands. Zillow suggesting that you should move because it's an impact on, on your condition, or CVS says that you should have folic acid because your MTHFR gene, is a polymorphism. You can go on and on, but it will certainly be that, because the brands, and I'm talking to big brands very often, and they are thinking about it. And, I cannot, there's a couple of companies in the audience that are already, having their first experiments and their first products here. Blockchain, let's talk about blockchain. First of all, people love blockchain. Of course, they say, some people, it's a bit like, in my time with Playboy, you say that I buy Playboy for the articles, so, well, it's now like I like blockchain, but not Bitcoin. It's all the same thing. But now people fall in love with blockchain. And actually, as finite beings, we are always attracted to infinite things. So they marry on the blockchain, And so we did our initial coin offering, led by Pantera Capital. We raised $10 million, so most of that in BTC. We waited for the right moment to sell it, which was a very good strategy. And so we are now, we only raised 11 million of our, 110 million of our 350 million neurons that we still can raise. The healthcare industry is a $3 trillion industry. The world is $7 trillion. And centralized digital health market is only 1% of that. It's only there for 7 or 8 years. And more than 1,000 companies compete in it. In the decentralized digital health market, there's only 14. And they come from 2017. And we have partnered, or are partnering with, some of these already. Because first, we partner within the blockchain. With Jax, the wallet, with Civic, the identity key, with RSK, who will do his ICO later about the interoperability of blockchains between Bitcoins and Ethereum. Storage, for decentralized storage. So this is certainly going to be, and this is probably the understatement of the year, a growing sector. Now, what makes people decide to be on our waiting list? Well, train their own AI, they like it. Own their own data that they can sell and donate and share. They get paid by us to invest in their health, in our own neurons, of course, and it's encrypted. And they can sell their health and data to counterparts, because what people don't understand, there can be no market between the counterparty. And there's a lot of data brokers and pharma ready to buy this new organic data coming from millions of consumers. And it's decentralized on their smartphone, and they can organize their own data trials. Very often, and here you see all the celebrities of the Bitcoin and the blockchain universe, you ask yourself, why wouldn't we hard fork healthcare into a data trials, done by consumers, and on the other hand, a clinical part done by doctors? Wouldn't it be a lot better? Because what we have seen in blockchain, every time that there is a hard fork or an attack, we make more money because we get money from, the new fork, and we get, the other fork restores. So our strategy is, and you should actually think about the redistribution of power when patients start to organize their own trials. And that's something I'm really passionate about. First of all, we have to collect the data. That we will open our importers March 20. The complete network will be open. Then we have to predict. Our deep learning, our kernels will be open, 6 months later, probably sooner. And then there's only behavioral change. Then you can go with nice structured data and your trials. You can go to the doctor and go to hospitals and see who gives you the best advice. I think it's good for everyone. And it's very Darwinistic, because this is how we survive. We collect information on our environment, we try to predict what may happen, and then we prevent what's happening. AI. So you see there the sun. Everything, every cell, at a certain moment, starts to see that all the energy and all the light comes from the sun. And it makes customized sensors, eyes. And when things start to see, the first thing they probably say is, wow. So, in AI, we say that image classification is followed by speech synthesis. So, and, you have CNNs and RNNs. And CNNs, ConvNets, are mostly used for pictures. And RNNs, or LSTMs, which is my favorite brand, are used for, language. And I put CS231 and CS220 from Stanford, because this is where we recruit. And in the end, I'm really interested by DDNNs, distributed deep neural nets, because this gives the power to the consumer where we can do federated learning. Of course, we are not there, but we will be there. And the convergence of AI and blockchain will be enormous, because you see, at AI, when we look at blockchain, we think we can bring a lot more intelligence there. We can bring more automation there. We can make agents that create ledgers. Or we can know your data. The provenance of the data is on the blockchain. And, and what can blockchain do for AI? Well, we have all that data, but we have no market to sell and to buy. So a market for data, a market for models, that's what we really need. Over the internet, we put a layer of value now, which is called the blockchain. The consumer, well, so as I said, we worked with Deloitte, and we are not a business-to-business company, and we are not a consumer company. So this is a dichotomy that is a legacy of the 20th century. What are we? We're a network company. And every company on the world is now a network company. In information theory, we're all just end users of each other. And so that means we work for patients, participants, payers, providers, pharma, physicians, programmers. It doesn't matter, because everyone has seen that the whole network, that the whole society is becoming a data processing network, and that it's about the velocity of that network that will define us. And perhaps countries will be data processing systems, but certainly corporations will be data processing systems. And just last week, what happened? Well, CVS said the doctor is no longer the gatekeeper. So who is it then? It's the patient. United Healthcare says perhaps we should reimburse genetic tests. And the University of Houston Legal Center, they said medical data and genomic data should be a civil right. We as consumers, we should own it. So our advisors, and there are more advisors that we are now out for. So we especially like medical schools because it is our favorite partner to, parse all that data. But we have great blockchain advisors, and we have, of course, a great team. And this is our own little media lab in Palo Alto, and so you are always welcome, and come and see us. Thank you very much.
doc.ai. Collect, predict, change.